I recently started hosting a new free challenge and have been blown away by the number of signups I've had so far. Like seriously, 5 times the average number I've gotten in the past. Now, I believe much of this success can be chalked up to 3 tech tools I've incorporated for the first time. And today, I'm going to tell you what they are. Oh, and best of all, one of these tools offers a free trial and the other 2 have completely free versions you can use. So really, there's no excuse not to give these a try in your business. You ready? Let's do this. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Michaela Bucchianeri, psychologist turned copy coach. And I help you bring your in-person magic to your online presence, attracting more of your dream clients with words that connect. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe for new videos each week. So a quick note before we get started, even though the whole point of this video is to hopefully improve the odds that folks will sign up for your challenge to get more opt-ins and conversions, these 3 tools each served a different function in doing that. So the first tool you'll see I plugged in at the very beginning to help drive more people to sign up for the challenge in the first place. The second tool I used when folks were inside the challenge to hopefully enhance their experience. And the final tool I used to collect their feedback, which then I could use to encourage more signups. So for each of the tools that I talk about, I'll link the info below so you can test it out yourself. And I'll give you my best guess as to why it worked as well as it did. Finally, if you'd like me to do a more in-depth tutorial or review of any of these tools, let me know below. Okay, the first tool that I used is Proof, as in social proof. This is responsible for a little pop-up window in the corner of the screen so that when someone landed on the opt-in page for my challenge, they would see information about other people who had recently opted in. Now you can configure settings around how much information is shown there, but I set it to display the name and location of folks who had opted into my challenge so far. The idea behind this is that we inherently trust resources more when there's proof that other human beings have opted in, have taken the plunge. Now, I'd come across Proof before as a user visiting other people's sites. I'd usually seen it as proof of purchase. So say I'm on a site and someone sells legal templates. They'd use Proof to display so-and-so from somewhere, USA, just purchased a terms and conditions template. And the whole idea is that it nudges you toward making a purchase of your own. I thought that was cool, but I'd never used it myself, and it never had dawned on me to use it for a free resource. But after thinking about it a bit and reviewing some of the case examples on Proof's site, I decided to give it a try with my new challenge. So even though no one's making any purchase, the Proof window that would pop up would just let people know, look, people are opting into this challenge. It helps build excitement. It helps, again, lay some of that foundation of trust. Now, when I first announced this challenge, it was designed to funnel people into a new offer that I was announcing. And my goal for that entire launch was to keep it as simple and low stress as possible. So this wouldn't normally be the time to start monkeying around with new tech ideas, but it was a total cinch to set Proof up and give it a try on my opt-in page. So I'm gonna hop behind the computer and I'll show you what I mean. So inside Proof, getting started with testing out the tool is really simple. You're going to begin by creating what's called a new campaign. So this is whatever free or paid thing you're promoting. So we'll just call it a free training. And the first thing you'll want to do is set a goal. So the goal for my challenge was simply to opt in to taking part in the challenge, giving me their first name and email address. But the goal can be anything you want. So see here, they'll give you some different categories to choose from. We'll go with lead to keep it simple. And you will name your goals. We'll say sign up for free training. And if you have a monetary value attached to that opt-in, you can certainly include it here. We'll just leave it at 0. And this is where you will specify the completion URL. So this is whatever page is displayed to signify that that goal has been completed. So let's imagine your free training on your website. There's a page with a form on it. they submit the form, and then they're probably taken to a confirmation page or a thank you page of some kind. That's the URL you would include right here, and that communicates to Proof that someone has opted in, that conversion has been successful. So once you create your goal, you'll be taken to a page where you can specify your notification settings. So depending on whether you have a free or a paid plan, you'll have one or more options here. When I tested this out, I was just on a free trial. So recent activity is what I went with. And then you'll be able to customize that. And it'll give you a little preview of what this pop-up will look like on your site. So using the IP address of whoever signed up, it'll give this little display to other visitors to your website, letting them know that that person just opted in. And you can customize the message. Just signed up for training. And I just had Proof display a snapshot of the map from wherever that person was opting in from, but you can customize it with an image if you like. And it gives you some display rules that you can customize here. Down here, you can modify the appearance and the timing, and then you'll be prompted to give one more URL. This is the page that corresponds to wherever that form lives on your site. Wherever you're capturing name and email information, that's the URL to give right here. And Proof will then prompt you to install a pixel on that page of your website. Now, if you haven't done this before, don't worry. Proof gives you some pretty straightforward instructions here. Basically, you're just grabbing one line of code that you are then adding to your website. So it'll walk you through that. And then once that is done, Proof will confirm for you that the pixel on your website is successfully sending information about your campaign back to Proof. And this is what's going to enable Proof to test out how it's working for you and send you real-time updates. Something else I appreciate about Proof is they do a great job of keeping you updated on the performance of any campaigns you're running. And that adds just a little extra excitement for you as the business owner, right? You're testing this tool out for the first time and you're getting real-time feedback from Proof about how it's going so far. And so they'll send you little updates like, wow, you're performing at this level, or your conversion rate is at this right now. It's exciting to see that this new thing that you're testing out is actually going really well. So well, in fact, funny story, that about a week and a half into running this campaign for the first time, Proof emailed me and said that my usage rate was so high, like in terms of the number of opt-ins I was getting, that I'd have to bump me into a higher plan, like a higher category. So I will update you on what I end up doing with that, but just know it works really, really well. So there's different ways to show social proof, of course. You can have testimonials from past people you've worked with on your opt-in page. You can have logos from places you've been featured to help build your authority and perceived credibility that way. Something that provides that real-time social proof of other people like your intended audience opting in to what you have to offer. Just seeing it right there on the screen, it's just hard to match that kind of real-time information. And I think the reason that was so helpful in this case is that this was a brand new challenge. This is not something that I've offered before, and the focus of it was something that not a lot of people are already aware of. I'm introducing this idea of a copy vault. Like, many people have not thought about that, or certainly don't have that name to put to it. So there's a lot of education that I needed to do about it, even as I was inviting people into the challenge. Now, I did my best to provide all the relevant details on my actual opt-in page, but I think having the Proof app, giving that real proof of concept there as people were trying to make a decision about whether or not to opt in, I really think it was helpful. Even if it's completely free, if your resource, if what you're offering to people is not something they're already familiar with, if there's any sort of mystery or uncertainty surrounding it, anything you can do to help reassure them and show them, look, this is a valuable thing that real people are saying yes to right as we speak. It's just going to help nudge them in that direction. The second tool I use to help make this challenge a success is Loom. Now, I love Loom. I use it all sorts of different ways in my business. It's a really simple tool that helps you record videos, either talking to the screen like this, or a screen recording, or both. And it's just so helpful to educate, provide face-to-face contact and feedback. It's a wonderful communication and relationship building tool. It's also just really easy to use. Let me show you. So Loom makes it really simple to communicate via video. You can do a screen recording, you can record yourself talking to camera like I am, or you can do a combination. Now, using Loom's Chrome extension, you can record a video on any website or tool you might possibly choose. And you can also integrate it with a number of different platforms and tools you're likely already using in your business. Loom has a summary of all of these on their website. For example, right inside Gmail, you can record a Loom video to include along with your message. But for simplicity's sake, I just want to demo how I would record the type of video that I sent folks inside my challenge. So this is one of the default canvases Loom gives you to choose from. And I'd go ahead and move the image of me. You can play around with the placement and the size, but then whenever you're ready, you can just start recording. Hi, Sasha. Thanks so much for taking part in my challenge, and thank you for your excellent question. It actually made me think of a resource that you might not know about yet, so I'm going to go ahead and link that for you below. And then once that's recorded, it's automatically saved to your library of videos in Loom. And when you go into the video, you'll have the option to edit it right there on Loom and do a number of other customizations. And then you can share it via a link. You can embed it inside another tool or web page or email, virtually whatever you want, but then it's hosted on Loom. So when someone watches it, they're watching it right there through the website. It's all stored on the cloud. Super simple. So I used Loom different ways in this challenge. One was to deepen my responses to specific questions participants would ask. There was question and answer built in to the challenge in the form of posted questions. So a participant, if they were having a question about something inside the challenge, they could enter a comment right there beneath that day's video, and then I would respond to them. And the idea was that it was all there for everyone else to see. They could all be learning from one another's questions. Occasionally, someone would ask a question that kind of went a bit beyond what I could respond to. It was kind of outside the scope of the challenge. In those cases, I would respond individually to those participants with a quick Loom video, and often they were quite quick, like a couple of minutes or shorter. But I would mention a resource, I would give some more in-depth feedback on what they were asking about, and almost always I got a response to my response from the participant, how much they appreciated that individual attention, and it really spurred some great conversations. And I will say several of those people who I had that depth of conversation with ended up opting into my paid offer when the challenge was over. So I think it's just a very simple way, a very low demand way to convey caring and attention. Another way that I used Loom was to reward people who were helping spread the word about the challenge. So when folks signed up for the challenge, I let them know, hey, thanks, you're in. And if you know of anyone who might like to take part, you can send them this link. And it was just a link to the same opt-in page where I had the proof app set up and they could enter their information to join. So whenever I noticed a participant inside the challenge going above and beyond helping spread the word, posting to their social media, forwarding it on to people in an email, whenever I knew that they were doing that, I followed up with a personal Loom video just to thank them. I genuinely appreciated it. So again, just a minute or two to personally let them know that I appreciated the extra effort they were putting in to help me get this challenge into the hands of people who could benefit from it. And I got, again, just a really positive response to those messages. So in that way, I think Loom was really instrumental in improving the experience of folks inside the challenge. Hopefully this sparks some ideas for how you can incorporate it too. The third tool I used is VideoAsk. VideoAsk is hosted by Typeform, the survey builder. I had encountered it before when I was checking out the sales page for another business owner's course that I was interested in taking part in. And on that page, it popped up as kind of a floating widget in the corner that invited me to ask any questions I had about the course. So it can be useful in that way. But it also offers some really creative ways of collecting information and engaging with your audience. So the way that I used it for this challenge was to collect feedback at the end. So at the conclusion, once someone had made their way through the challenge, I followed up with a link to a form. And when they opened up the form, it was a video of me saying, thank you so much for taking part in the challenge. I'd love to get your thoughts while it's still fresh, so that I can continue improving the challenge. And so I asked just a few questions about what they liked about the challenge, what they learned, what it helped them with, and gave them an opportunity to share any feedback on how I could continue to improve it. Obviously, like Loom, this leverages the power of video. I'm getting to ask them questions, but they're seeing my face, they're hearing me ask it in my voice. But what's really cool about VideoAsk is it gives them the option of responding to my questions in written form, audio form, or by recording a video of their own right there in the app. And then on my end, all that info gets stored. I can go through it and pull out notes for how I can improve the challenge in the future, and I can take testimonial data that then I can share with the permission of the person who provided it with other members of my audience to hopefully entice them to take part in the challenge too. And setting it up, again, is very simple. It's a really intuitive interface. I'll show you. Creating a new survey inside VideoAsk is also really simple. Are you sensing a theme here? First thing you want to do is give it a title. So we'll say training feedback survey. And by default, it collects contact info from the people that you're administering the survey to. So if you're going to use it like I did to collect testimonial feedback, I do recommend you leave this toggled on, but you can always switch it off if you don't want those details. You can choose your language and then go ahead and create. Something I love about VideoAsk is it gives you lots of flexibility at every stage of using the tool. So for example, you can record your video introducing yourself and kind of setting up what the survey is going to be about using your webcam. You can do a screen share, kind of like I demonstrated with Loom. You can upload a pre-recorded video if you like, or choose from something you've already saved in your library. So if we went with the webcam like this, I'd hit record to start. Hi, thanks so much for taking part in my free training. I'd love to collect your feedback while it's still fresh in your mind. Whenever you're ready, hit start. And you start that. It gives you the option of seeing if you like it or not. Hi, thanks so much. We'll say, yes, I like it. You can overlay it with text right here that will display over top of your video. You can play around with the text size, choose whether to darken the video for readability or not, and you can fit the video to the screen that's being viewed on. So here's the video we just recorded. We can give it a title, and then you can choose what response options you give folks who interact with it. So for this one, because I said hit start when you're ready, I would choose button and I would label it start. There's some more customization options, but whenever I'm ready, I click done. And here it's going to bring you to this really intuitive schematic. This is going to help you build out your survey. And so the very next step, wherever you want folks to go after this intro, you would add a new step right here. And it's going to repeat this process. So this is where I would then record another video asking my next question. And so let's say you have 3 questions you want to ask people when you're creating this video ask. I would recommend breaking each one down into a separate video. So you want to keep this really clear and straightforward. So here I would ask my next question. So first up, I'd love to know what you enjoyed about the challenge. What really stands out about the experience for you? So first up, I'd love, and we'll skip the overlay text for now. And here I give this title. And this is where we can give respondents the option to respond via video, audio, text, whatever you want. And you control this by toggling each of these. And you can see that when you toggle video and audio off, they're left with just the option to type their response. And so they can say, my favorite part was ... By default, VideoAsk will caption your videos, but you can edit those captions right here if you want. You can trim the video and adjust it in some other ways. But once you're done, and you can be done at that point, or if you want to get fancy, you can click into Logic, and this gives you the option to change up which video they see next based on how they respond to this question. So there's lots of ways to add in additional layers of complexity, but the way I used it was really straightforward. I just had a series of a few questions. I captured some basic information, and then at the end, I included one final question asking their permission to share their feedback publicly for testimonial purposes. So let's say I've built out a bunch more steps here. You can customize the goodbye screen, and then you have the option to preview the whole thing before you go live or to test it out yourself live. You'll just grab this link, share it out via email or however else you want to reach out to participants. As they start responding to it, VideoAsk will collect that information and ping you with a notification. No matter what you're inviting folks to opt into, I think it's just good practice to have some sort of a system in place for collecting their feedback. And it's really helpful to do this right at the end while it's still fresh in their mind. It's also a good idea to automate this process as much as you can. It's one of the things I appreciate about VideoAsk is it keeps it all streamlined and stored right there for you securely. And then I could go in and stitch together video clips. I had a record of who had given their consent to have me share their feedback either anonymously or with their identifying information. And it just keeps it really nice and organized inside the app. So I was totally impressed. I will definitely continue using this, and I've already incorporated it into other parts of my business in collecting feedback. And you are very welcome to join me inside my free 3-day copy bank challenge. It's going to help you create your own bank of magic words to attract more of the right clients to your business. Alyssa says that creating a copy bank has forever changed the way I write. Michaela's strategies for finding words that resonate with my dream clients are genius. You can sign up at the link below, and I can't wait to support you inside. So to sum up, I really don't believe in hinging all our hopes on any one tool, but I believe that when thoughtfully chosen, tech tools like these 3 that I've shared today can really work together to supercharge all of the other things that you're doing to help drive signups to your offers. So in my case, Proof helped build trust with the people landing on my opt-in page by showing them real-time data of other folks like them who were opting in. Loom helped personalize and enhance their experience inside the challenge itself, and VideoAsk gave them a unique and flexible way to share their feedback on what it was like taking part. And with their permission, I could then use that feedback to help invite new members of my audience to take part in the challenge. Hopefully this has gotten your wheels turning a bit. I'd love to know which of these tools you're most excited to test out in your business. And if you're already using any of these, I'd like to know that too. What's your experience been like, and what are some creative ways you've incorporated them? And if you're preparing to launch something new of your own, free or paid, be sure to check out this video sharing my best tips to a low-stress launch. Thanks so much for being here. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe for new videos each week.